Hey everybody, how you doing today? So, the whole purpose of this channel, as you've probably seen, is to teach you the in and outs of what it took for me to become an insurance agent. Plain and simple. Whether you're going captive, whether you're going independent, it's just my story over the last 2 years. So, where did I start at wanting to be an insurance agent? Well, just like everyone else, I wanted to make better money. Does it always equate to better money? It does. There's a lot of money to be made in the insurance industry, and there's a lot of money to be lost. The main thing that I'm going to cover is basically where to start, where you can end up at, disprove some of the myths that are out there. I mean, there's a ton of videos telling you how these people are making $30,000 a month. Is it true? Yes. Are you going to run out there and make $30,000 a month? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible, especially in life insurance and final expense, but it's also possible to lose. And there's more people with videos out there of losing than winning. This is totally unscripted. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm making this video mainly because I wish there would have been one out there when I did it. Is my story a horror story? Not at all. I'm actually doing fairly well. And I came from totally opposite spectrum. I have another YouTube channel out there. I have RT Repairs. I was working on cars, working on small engines, and I'm still doing that. And if you guys watch that channel, I'll be bringing new videos out to that channel here sometime soon. But basically, where does it all start? So when you get the idea that you want to be an insurance agent, what should you do for step one? Looking back for me, step one would be make sure you have 4 to 6 months of money put away. Make sure you have that money put away. Is it going to cost you thousands of dollars to get into the insurance industry? No, it's not. Most agencies, captive agencies, when I say captive agency, let me explain that first. So independent agent would be someone like myself, someone that works under contract for different carriers, but does not work for them directly. So when I say that, what I mean is they're not my boss in fact of telling me you need to be here at 9 o'clock in the morning. I work from my home, work from a home office. But they do, allow me to sell their products. I have to attend their trainings, but I'm not locked down to them. Can I sell other people's products? Of course. I actually sell 4 different carriers for property and casualty. I also do some carriers for life insurance. Now, working as a captive agent, it's a little different. That you have to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. You're done by 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You get an hour for lunch. You work for them. Is there an advantage to both or either? So captive agent is going to be a guaranteed, most of the time, base salary plus commission. Can you make a lot of money? You can make good money doing it. You get vacation time. As an independent agent, is there a lot more money to make? Yes, there is. Because you have renewals that come in that you get paid off of every 6 months, every year, as long as the customer stays with you. But you also have chargebacks. We'll get into all of that in a future episode. This isn't going to be an all-in-one shot type episode. There's a lot that I've learned over the last couple years. But this first episode is going to be about how you get started. So first thing is, as we said before, make sure that you have money put away. Make sure you got enough money put away to cover your bills for 4 to 6 months. After that, you're going to want to make sure that you have a plan in place, who you think you want to go work for. And that's important for a couple of reasons. So one of the reasons is, are you going to pay for your own license, go through and get it all done on your own? Can you do that? Yes, you can. When you go out and you get this stuff on your own, you're going to be basically signing up for like Kaplan Financial, like I did. I signed up for Kaplan Financial. I went out there. I got my license, took the test. Took me about a month and a half because I was doing it a little bit at a time. Cost anywhere from $300 to $500 depending upon the courses you take. Is it hard? Some of it is, especially for health and life insurance. A lot to learn. And then I went about and took the test through the state. Was it a hard test? Like I said, some of it was, some of it wasn't. It all depends on you and the time you put into it. But like I said, you can do that, take a test, get your license, go about and get hired by someone. You know, I would highly recommend you go to a captive agent for at least the first 6 months to a year. And get your knowledge base down. You know, you're going to learn a lot. I will tell you that, you know, is it an easy go with insurance? If you've sold other products, it may be fairly similar to you. There are a lot of scripted sales. There are a lot of role play things that you're going to do. You're going to feel like you're a Hollywood actor by the time you get done with it. And the role playing never stops. Being an independent, do I still do that? Sometimes I do, actually. Sometimes I'll look in the mirror and actually do a sale to myself, just so I can kind of see what I'm dealing with and, you know, how I go about and say things. But in general, my type of sales I like to do is I like to change how I talk, how I react, depending upon the person I'm talking with. I mean, if I'm talking with a 21-year-old, I don't want to sound like their grandfather on the phone. But then again, if I'm talking to a grandfather on the phone, I don't want to sound like a 21-year-old either. So, you know, dealing with people is a big thing about insurance. Big thing about insurance. So we were talking about dealing with people, you know, as I said, dealing with people and it being such a huge part, that's the main thing you have to be ready for. Does insurance sell itself? Property and casualty insurance basically does, because people need it. They have to have it. Same thing with Medicare supplements. People need it. They have to have it. Life insurance, final expense insurance, not so much. And we'll get into that later on about the differences in selling that. But the main thing is, like we talked about, get your license first. Then make that decision. You know, am I going to go work for that captive agent? Having your license already gives you a little more, as I would say, skin in the game. If they're paying for your license, there's always going to be an expectation from them. They all say there's not, but there's always going to be an expectation. You know, hey, I put that money out for you to get your license. You get your own license, you have it on your own. Be very careful with contracts you sign with insurance. Very, very careful. There's a lot of good captive agents. There's a lot of bad ones that will lock you in to where you can't go work for anyone else for a while. So if you get there to work for them and you don't like it, you're kind of stuck. Be very careful of the ones that will bait and switch you. You know, they'll tell you they're going to hire you for a certain amount, and then they change the game after the fact. You know, hey, you know, your commission's going to be based off of you doing this, and you're going to work these hours, but, oh, now I'm going to change it. They do that. They do that a lot. Be very careful of that. That's the downfall of working for a captive agent. The good thing is you learn a lot. You learn a lot very fast. Like I said in the beginning, what are your first days going to look like? Heck, your first 3 months, you're not going to sell anything probably. You're going to be role playing every day. You're going to be learning their computer system or systems. You're going to be learning the ins and outs of their business and how they run it. You got to remember, this is their agency. It's a little different than a hardware store. You know, it's not going to be like, oh, you're the cashier and, you know, they sit in the back office. No. Insurance agencies are different. They're set up to sell policies and make money. Plain and simple. And your customer base is going to be different all the time. I mean, you're not going to be dealing with one type of customer. So, do you deal with angry people? No. I mean, generally, no. I mean, if they're angry, they're not angry at you. They might be angry at the insurance company you work for. Maybe their claim didn't go right. But generally speaking, they're not mad at you. They understand the insurance industry just like you do. You buy car insurance or homeowners insurance. You've got some type of insurance. And they understand that. When it comes to being an independent agent, there's a lot of pluses to it. You can work anywhere you want. You can work from your home. I sold a policy last week from Las Vegas when I was on vacation. You can pretty much log in and work from wherever you want to work from. And you make good money doing it. As an independent agent, you're going to get renewals, especially with property and casualty insurance. You're going to have, every time they renew their car insurance every 6 months, you're getting commission again. Do you get paid a lot of commission? On average for auto insurance, you're looking at between 10 and 12% starting out. Most of them max out at 15, some go as high as 20 of the annual premium. Some of them have perks for other things. If you bundle it together with home and auto, you're going to make more money selling the homeowner's policy. A lot of homeowners policies are 15%, and they're paid yearly. Now, if you turn around and sell that person an umbrella policy, you're going to get money off that. So if you can understand the fact of, let's say you have 10 customers and you sell them each $1,000 policy. So you're making $100 a customer. So let's say 6 months down the road, you keep 8 of those customers and you have 2 that leave to go to another insurance carrier. You're going to make $800 when your month starts, before you sell any new customers. Now let's say 6 months down the road from there, now you're a year and a half in, you're going to your third renewal, or your second renewal, excuse me. Now you're going to make that $800 again off that first customer group, and you're going to make the renewal off of your second group. So you can see how this adds up. If you're making $800 for your first month of sales, now 6 months later you make that $800 again plus another $1,000. And that third 6 month period of time comes around, you're going to make that plus the renewals again. Renewals are a big thing. Life insurance doesn't always pay that way. They tend to pay all the money up front for the first year. Some of them won't even pay you a final expense policy. Some of those will pay 145% of the annual premium, meaning if you sell a policy for $1,000, they're going to pay you $1,450 up front. But with all insurance, guess what? If they cancel the policy, you got to pay that money back. That's where people have issues. The other thing you got to think about is this: where do you get your customers? That right there in itself will be a total video on its own, where you get your customers from. In general, like I said, step 1, put money away. Step 2, get your license and go work for a captive agent. Get yourself hired with one of them. And look at a bunch of them out there, because there are a bunch of them, but read your contract when you sign with them. You don't want to get yourself in a situation to where you sign a contract and you're forced to work for them for a minimum of 2 years. Or if you leave them in a certain period of time, that you can't go work for someone else for a couple years. And that can be in those contracts. Every one of them has a contract. Read it. You do not want to get yourself in that situation. As far as insurance you need as an agent, you need errors and omissions assurance. If you promise someone something and you thought that you put full coverage on their vehicle and you didn't, and they come back and claim, I thought I had full coverage. They can sue you. Your errors and omissions coverage protects you on that. Now, is errors and omissions insurance expensive? No. Some of these agents will believe you that it'll lead you to believe that, oh, it's cost me $1,000 to bring you in here. No. Errors and omissions insurance is roughly $40 a month. It's not expensive. Very easy to get. Takes you all of 10 minutes to apply for. You know, if you go the independent agent route, you know, do you need an LLC? No. Your errors and omission insurance is what's covering you. Your LLC is not going to do anything for you. If you need it for a tax base, you could do that too, but you can also be a sole proprietor as an insurance care agent, especially if you're not going to have an agency where you have multiple people working for you. If you're just doing this on your own, yes, you can get away with being a sole proprietor. Are there tax benefits for LLC? I'm sure there is. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of tax benefits. Is there tax benefits for being a corporation? Yeah, there's tax benefits for being a corporation. I'm not a tax guy. I'm basically here just telling you my experiences. Now, again, like I said, these are my experiences. That doesn't mean you're going to experience the same thing, but it's just trying to get people's eyes open to the fact that don't expect that I'm going to get my license and go out and make $1 million. Can it happen? Of course it can happen. Will it happen? Probably not. What else could you expect? You know, what's going to be the hardest part? Well, one of the videos we're going to talk about leads. Leads that's a total different ballgame. The other thing we're going to talk about is other expenses you can look forward to accruing as you're doing this. I mean, some of the expenses, if you're going to be an independent agent, you got to get a good computer. You got to get something that's got security on it because you're dealing with people's personal information. File cabinet. You got to find some way to store their information. Do you need a CRM? Most people say you do. Some operate without one. It's what you feel comfortable with. The carriers that I use, they have everything in their systems. Do I still have a CRM? Yes. Do I use Ivan's downloads? You're going to hear that a lot. That's basically, if you run a larger agency, it allows you to download all of your customers' information with the click of a button and fill everything out into your CRM, so you have everything in one location. So, you know, like I sell for multiple carriers. It keeps you from having to go to multiple carrier sites to figure out what you need and where you're going to find it and how it's going to, you know, how you're going to put it all together. It'll also tell you when their policies are going to renew, if they've canceled anything. I mean, there's so much that can happen that, you know, unless you're tracking every one of those sites, then yes, you know, you should use the downloads, you should go in there, you should do stuff. Does it cost money? Everything costs money in insurance. As soon as you tack the word insurance to it, it tacks on money. And that's all stuff that you can expect to fall into your lap. You know, just for leads, like I said, leads we're going to cover more in another video, but just for leads, you know, unless you're generating them on your own through Facebook or through other sources, for auto leads, you're looking at $8 to $11 a piece. I want to put something in perspective to you. If I call 100 leads, every 100 leads I call, I might sell 10. Put that in perspective. I might sell 10. Realistically, 3 to 4. So now I want you to do the math on that. Are you going to make money off your leads? No. Your first 6 months, every lead you call is costing you money. Every sale you make when it comes to property and casualty is going to cover your expenses. Your second 6 months, you'll start making some money. But like I said, you have to put money out in order to make it. Life insurance leads, expensive. $20 to $25 a piece. They're shared leads, not exclusive. And this is on average what you're going to pay. And you have a lot of other people out there that tell you they're exclusive leads. I can tell you right now, I've called those leads. And when I call them and someone else tells me on the phone, hey, I just spoke to another guy. Not very exclusive. So you got to watch that. Like I said, leads we'll cover in another video. That's a total different ball game. But for now, your main focus is going to be on, what do I want to get out of insurance? Do I want to sell life insurance? Do I want to sell property? Do I want to sell casualty? I would tell you go get all 4 licenses. Why? Why not? It's going to give you an up, when you go to get hired. Will there be people that will hire you to sell life insurance with no experience? Of course there is. They're going to teach you anyway. Even if you've got 30 years selling, they want you to sell it their way. They want you to do it by their scripts. They want you to do it the way they want you to do it. They go as so far as, we want you to have eye contact. We want you to use Zoom. We want you to do it in person. We want you to wear a red tie. We want you to wear a blue tie. I mean, they will tell you everything you need to do and how they want it done. Captive agent, that's what you're going to expect. It's going to be a lot of that. If you are the type of person that does not like following direction or taking direction for someone, stay away from insurance. If you are the type of person that can get by with it for 6 months and then go on your own, put up with it for 6 months. Go through with it. It'll be the best decision you make going on your own. There's a lot of money to be made out there. A lot. And like I said, it gives you the freedom to sell from where you want to sell at, and do what you want to do. I think we covered enough for the first video here. Like I said, these are unscripted. I think next video what we're going to go about is some of the pitfalls that I've fallen into. And we'll cover that. We're going to do another video like I talked about on leads, how to source them, some things I've learned, some things that don't work. I'm not going to mention any names, guys. I'm not going to do that. It's not fair, because your experience with somebody might be different than my experience from somebody. But I will give you enough information to where you can put one and one together and kind of figure it out. But until next time, it's been an awesome time talking with you guys. And like I said, leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot more coming to this channel in the future. My office is under construction, so, ignore the background, but it is what it is. Like I said, guys, I'm not trying to hide anything from you guys, and I'm not trying to script it or sell you anything. We'll talk to you next time.